So please let me know if you have any questions about that, or any other types of human genetic modification, and I'll be happy to. Yeah. So basically, the cat girls have two sets of ears. This is how I've been thinking about it so far, and I think that we're very close to being able to do it if we really wanted to, and I think the cost is quite low. I think you probably find a lot of opposition if you really wanted to do it, but there's no reason why you couldn't maybe do this in international waters or some rogue nation. Okay, I'm back, and if anyone has any questions, please whack them into the chat. Um, we could buy an island if we pull our super. We could, and we would be able to get the internet because Elon Musk has got Starlink now. So that means we'd probably have almost everything we need. Is it possible to make human frogs like foldable, flexible legs that allow for extreme horizontal leaping? That would be very, very difficult. Like I wouldn't even know where to start. You could potentially just start pulling genes in and see what happens. But I think that often when you have embryos that are very, very different, like, you change their genetics around a lot, it's difficult to get them not to self-abort. So they kind of won't work. The plan is too different. I think the best idea is to kind of move stepwise. So adding just a primate tail probably has quite a high chance of success. Can we grow our teeth back? There's been a lot of research into this. Potentially, yes. You basically just need to put some sort of stem cell in and trigger some process. What happens, though, with this stuff, though, is that your body has basically been set up to stop regeneration once you kind of reach 25. And the reason for this is that when you have a huge burst of cell growth, it generally looks like cancer to the body, and your body shuts it down. So a lot of this stuff is trying to do something that your body really doesn't want it to do. So we have to subvert a lot of the control mechanisms there, and that means to increase your chances of getting cancer. So with a lot of this stuff, even though it's possible to do it in adults, it might significantly increase your risk of cancer. Just to cover that. Can we grow our teeth back? So honestly, that's all we need. You need to attach the muscles as well. Attaching muscles is kind of tricky. The body broadly, though, understands when you give it a plan. So if you can basically kind of say to the body, like, this is a tail or this is a hand, it can work around. And that's why things like the fly worked, is because we basically picked a point in the development of the embryo and made the change then. When we said this is an extra thorax, or the leg goes here, it allows the hormone gradients inside the cell to understand that that's a leg, or that this is the body. So it can, as the cells divide, make sure that everything's there. And that includes muscles, capillary networks, lymphatic networks, all this stuff. When the human is already made, it's actually very difficult. Now, this is actually a strategy that that cancers have, which is that what it will do is it will actually try and reprogram the body the way it already is, to get its own food supply, to get its own blood supply, to get its own waste processing. So it does all of this, and the cancer basically rewires the body, but it's incredibly complicated, and generally the body tries and stops it. So your body fights off cancer, and a lot of cellular mechanisms are designed to stop this. So I think that it's a really tough thing to get a human to grow a tail when it's already grown. There is another possibility. We grow the tail in a petri dish out of your own cells, and then we attach that. And that's a much smarter way of doing it, I think, because we're not fighting the flood, right? That's basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to think, what's the most realistic way of doing it? How do we trip the lowest amount of the body's defense systems, because it's not part of the plan? Yeah, so this is going to be recorded. So if you've jumped in late, it should be up there. I kind of skimmed over a whole heap of stuff, but I hope I kind of pointed you in the right directions for the types of questions you want to be asking, the things to look for, and the ways of thinking about this type of problem. Because all my biotech solutions are basically about the same thing. I go looking to see if it's been done anywhere in nature before, and then we basically say, well, okay, could we then use the tools that are available now to move that across to humans? Could we talk about a cyborg version? Definitely. Cyborg versions are quite a good way of doing it. I think what I did with the ears is kind of a cyborg cheat. I basically went, what type of implants could I do to do this? Now, with a tail, it's kind of a hard thing to do, unless it's something that clips on. So ideally with a cyborg version, you would want something where it magnetically connects to the body, and you would use some sort of reader of muscle signals. So there's bands called the Myo, which basically reads small electrical charges in the muscles as an input, and it turns that input into movement as an output. So you could think about moving a part of your body, and then that would translate to cat motion. You could use something like a Neuralink, where you'd have some input, which is the thought from your brain, and that would translate into muscular movement. But in this case, it would be a robotic tail. The problem there is that it's not taking energy from your body, and it would need to be recharged and things like this. And this bolted to the sacrum. Devon's already on the cyborg version. Devon, if you want to chuck a link to your project, I would love people to be able to see this, because it's such a fantastic approach to this problem. Okay, is there any research into how animal DNA can help humans' muscle mass, intelligence, or senses-wise? Not really. And the reason... Sarah? Sorry, just hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry. Sarah, someone's at the door. I need you to go. Sorry, someone was at my front door. Okay, so is there any research into how animal DNA can help muscle mass, intelligence, or senses? Not really, and it's because it's a taboo area of research. So basically, there are areas of research that we consider taboo, and that means that only specific individuals can kind of do it, because nation states and research institutions won't do it. And the reason is we don't want to know the answers. So things like looking into genetics around certain things about human augmentation, the genetics of race, human-animal stuff, there's like no research, because we as society deem it not to be like worthy of research, or if we found out the answer, the consequences might be really bad for us. So part of that would be like, say for example, we found some genetic basis for intelligence, and we really knew that it was the case. We might be able to use that as a form of discrimination against people, even though it might be the research wouldn't necessarily say that, but the way that it was used politically would be a certain way. So we might say, there are some genes that would indicate certain levels of intelligence, right? And then a politician might say, okay, well, that means that unless you have this gene, you can't have a certain job. And that doesn't necessarily correlate, but people would say that there's a genetic basis for this, so we're going to put this into practice. Now, we know that this has happened before. So we found genes that correlate with aggression, and people have gotten off on murder charges because they basically said there was a genetic basis for them committing murder. That wasn't broadly their fault, that they were genetically predetermined to doing this. So there is definitely good reason for us not doing these types of research, unless we have a type of society that is mature enough to be able to understand where these findings fit, we'll say, and how to use the knowledge responsibly. Making animals into humans, okay, but humans and animals are no-go. Yeah, and plants into humans is back online now. I'm really, really sorry. My 5G connection is absolutely atrocious. I have tried everything. I've tried streaming from my phone. I've tried streaming from 5G. There is no way I can fix this. If you're from Telstra, please get in contact with me, because I have some choice words to say to you. Just super quickly, I want to say a big thank you to everyone for watching. A big thank you to UTS Biotech for getting me to come on and talk. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I do a stream every Tuesday from 7:30 to 9:30 with Lucy. This is an extracurricular one sponsored by the UTS Biotech Society. So I want to say a big thank you, and I'm looking forward to us all being out of lockdown and doing this in person. So thank you very much once again. And goodbye. Cheers.